Hi, my name is Bruce Merritt. I own Candies of Merritt in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. My family's been making handmade chocolates and candies for over 100 years. It started with my grandfather, Steve Yurchuk, who apprenticed as a teenager, and he passed the knowledge and recipes on to my parents and my uncle Jim Yurchuk, and they've passed it along to myself and my children. We make all of our candy by hand using the finest ingredients. We make it at our candy shop here in Guelph, and I have been working full-time since I was 18, but I started when I was 7 with helping, and now I am the head candy maker and I do all of the candy making. Your standard hard candy mixture is glucose, sugar, and water. How you proportion them depends on what type of candy you're making. Our candy canes and candy drops, we use a softer candy, which is less glucose. The key is to start with the nicest glucose and sugar that you can get, and then we put it into a big copper kettle. I use a hydraulic lifter and pourer from Savage Brothers in Chicago. This has been a huge help, allowing me to make candy by myself once my parents were a little too old to do the heavy lifting. We make our candy on a 6-foot by 3-foot marble table. It has been in continuous use for over 100 years. The table, even though it's been used that long, still needs to have a light coating of coconut oil on it in order so the candy doesn't stick to it. We also put up metal bars so the candy, when it's very hot, does not run off the edge of the table. Our gas-fired stove is an 80,000 BTU stove. It helps to boil the candy as fast as possible, which puts less humidity into the air. The more humidity in your air, the more sticky your candy's going to get. Once the candy's boiling, you want to rinse down any uncooked sugar from the edge of the kettle. You do that by using the cloth with water, and that rinses all of your uncooked sugar down into your batch so that you don't end up with anything uncooked, which can turn your whole batch to sugar. Once the candy is boiled hot enough, we pour it onto the table. We flavor the candy on the table. We try to use oils wherever possible. The flavoring is sprinkled onto the batch, and then it's quickly turned in to keep it from evaporating out into the air. The edges will start to harden a little faster than the rest of the batch. You don't want to use metal scrapers if you can help it, because that can also turn your batch to sugar when you're doing a very soft batch like our candy canes. So we turn the batch of candy into the middle so that the edges cool equally. We separate the batch into our color sections. For this batch, we'll be making red with green and white. The red and the green are colored with paste colors. You knead those colors into the batch, which is still quite warm. To get the candy white, you pull it on a traditional candy hook. The clear candy, as it's pulled, it gets air and crunchiness in it, but it becomes a nice white, shiny, silvery candy. We put the batch together by stretching out the stripes onto the largest portion of the candy. When you fold the candy over, you then get your stripe all the way around, and then you roll it into a ball or a log that will then stretch out into the candy canes or drops. We use a gas-fired batch warmer to keep the batch warm enough to pull without it being too hot. We stretch the batch out into a long, thin strip, and for drops, we pull it across our buttercup cutter. Our buttercup cutter was made over 100 years ago. It was made by the Connecticut Chain Company in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We use the same process for making candy canes during the Christmas season, but instead of cutting it on the cutter, we cut them into 5, 6, 7-inch lengths, where then they're rolled on the marble table, and then the crook is put on them to give you that beautiful Christmas candy cane. After the candy canes and drops are cooled, we package them for sale in our store. They're the perfect gift for one person or for a whole family.